Good morning, everyone. I'm happy you could be with me today. I just have a short video to talk about something that I have available in my shop. I think this is really a very nice item because it cuts out so much of the labor for you. These are sample end cuts. And what I mean by that, they had samples of fabric on the end, but at the very end, where they were attached, they had paper backing. So it's you had to cut that off from the usable little swatch of fabric. But I didn't want to throw these away because they're so usable in so many things, especially in junk journaling where we glue so much of our stuff to pages. So paper backings are wonderful to have. Now, I go through what I have and I try to match up color combinations that are attractive together and give a combination of colors, variety of textures, so that these can make really gorgeous page pockets. They are approximately 3 by 4s, so they're just the right size. They're not too big and not too little, and things can slip in there very easily. For instance, this little booklet that I'm working on could slip right into that pocket if it were on your page. Okay, so I have these available in my shop. They come in sets of 6, and what I do, I have quite a few of these sewn up, is I go through and pick out 6 different ones so that you don't get exactly the same thing. And since there really are no two alike, you can never get exactly the same combination. But then people ask me, well, what do I do with it once I get it? And so really you can do anything you want to with it. You could actually just leave it plain. You could stick a sticker on it, some kind of wording or whatever, or you can do some decorating. And I did a couple here so I could show you what I have done with them. This first one is done in the browns, and it has the 2 combination just like the ones I showed you. And what I did with that was I had a little piece of burlap and some gauzy fabric and a little bit of confetti, fabric confetti that I cut up, and I made a little square swatch for that and set it aside. And then I picked some other fabrics to go under that, a little bit of torn fabric here, a little bit of shiny fabric that's cut with pinking shears here, and another edge that was torn off a piece of fabric but with the right colors. If y'all know me, you know I don't throw anything away, especially when it comes to fabric. And because all of it can find a place into your junk journaling embellishments. As you can see, none of this is big items. These are all little tiny stuff. But when we put it together, collage it together, it makes really cute embellishments. Now, you can use this just plain, and you simply just sew it on, or I sew it. It could also, your decorative elements could also be glued to this piece of background fabric here, and then the whole thing glued to your page. I simply like to sew, and so I sew mine on with, it's done with a zigzag stitch, and then I know it's totally secure and I don't worry about it anymore. You could leave it like that, or you might perhaps like to add a little bit of something for yourself, maybe some wording, or a personal item, or something else that you'd like to add to the top of it. It doesn't matter. You can decorate the whole thing. You can decorate part of it, however you want to do it. Okay, so there's one. Now I have another one that's totally different combination. This is the same thing. I had some little pieces of fabric. I think there's 1, 2, 3 in the background. Then I had a little piece of paper, or just a scrap, and I took it and inked the edges, then put a little scrap of lace and another little piece of lace on top of that. And then I sewed the whole thing down around this to the background with a zigzag stitch. Again, your clustering elements can be glued, stapled, whatever you want to do, however you want to attach them. They can be done that way. This is fabric, so probably fabric tack would be your best glue if you're going to be gluing to these fabrics themselves. Okay, and again, you could add whatever you wanted, just some wording or something personal to it to make it your own, or leave it alone. The color sometimes is pretty just like on its own and makes a statement without having to be further embellished. Then the next question I get is, well, how do you make your little clusters and things? Well, there are a million videos out there about making clusters, most of them with papers, but some with fabrics. This is a cluster, and this is a piece of burlap, and I purposely pulled some of the pieces out so I'd fray the end, but I saved the pieces that I put out, and they're what's sewn across on the top here. And under that's a little remnant of a doily that I had, and so it's a piece of burlap, a piece of doily, and then the strings of the burlap sewn across. Now, if I didn't have the burlap strings, I could have used yarns, I could have used threads, I could have used really tiny pieces of leftover fabric. You could have used anything, actually. And you could now, I like this just like it is, but for people who just got to have paper, you could use this now to put something on. For instance, if you wanted to add a sentiment or something, you could add that to it, or anything else that you had in paper that you wanted to finish it off with. Clustering is nothing but layering up items, and really the more random the item, the better the clustering to me turns out, because clusters, I don't feel that you want a cluster to make a whole lot of sense in this, that it was designed, that it was totally thought out before you did it. I like clusters that seem to have a bunch of elements that just fell together and without any thought. And to me, those are the prettiest clusters. Like the cluster on this is basically the same thing with the piece of burlap, piece of fabric, and some tiny little confetti size cut fabric on top of that. And there is also some string under there, some thread, if you can see the thread along in here that was under the little confetti pieces. So that's how I like to collage and come up with something that looks random and but yet very pretty. So I hope that that will give you some idea of what you can do with all these elements. This is just a few. I have a lot of these, a lot of different colors, and I wanted to share them through my Etsy shop because making embellishments for junk journals is very time consuming, and anytime you can find something that speeds that process up, I think that's a really good thing. So with these, you've got your pocket already made. All you have to do is embellish it the way you want it. Now, just to give you a little bit of idea of what this might look like on a page, I wanted to show you how that might look on a junk journal page. Isn't that cute? Again, you just slip your element inside of it once you glue the 3 sides down. Okay, let's look at the other one. Glue your 3 sides down and you have a beautiful pocket. Okay. All right. I hope that helps you out, and I hope you'll find a place for some of these fabric pockets in your next journal. Until the next time, take care and keep creating. Bye-bye.